Hello, my name is Gus, but you can call me BATGUS, and we are back with our Batman the Animated Series commentary. Today's episode is the continuation of the last one, Feet of Clay Part 2. Again, a two-parter episode in the series that introduces the villain CLAYFACE, one of my favorite villains of the Bat Rogues Gallery. And as usual, I'm going to do my countdown so we can watch the episode together. If you are watching your DVD box set or Blu-ray box set or your streaming service, we can watch this one right now, all right? So in 3, 2, 1, let's go. So the Warner Bros. Logo is on the screen. And like I said, this is the second part of the CLAYFACE episode, the first CLAYFACE episode. And I think I mentioned in the first part commentary that the first episode, the animation is okay, it's serviceable, but it's not great. And this one now is the episode that the animation is absolutely perfect and one of the best examples of animation style executed in any animation series in the 90s. So the quality of this animation here is probably one of the best in the whole show. And probably the best in the whole show, to be honest. I don't remember any other example where the animation was just better than this one. And not only from this series, but from the other series like the DCAU universe, right? The Batman, Superman, Justice League, and so forth. And the CLAYFACE saga in Batman the Animated Series is a very interesting one in terms of what happens with the character through the whole show, like the phases of CLAYFACE in the show. And I'm talking about not only this season of the animated series, but also the next seasons, including the fourth season, which is that they made the whole redesign of the characters and they made the whole, they had a different style of animation, and it took place later in the career of Batman as a vigilante. And I have a special video talking about the whole saga of CLAYFACE during 4 episodes, I believe, including these 2, plus more 2 that we're going to have in the show. And I will release this video very soon talking about CLAYFACE's saga in Batman the Animated Series. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you can have fun seeing how the character changes and what kinds of stories he goes through in this show. But anyway, the episode already started a while ago, and we saw Bruce Wayne being released from the police station because he paid, right? He paid to get released, although the accusations are still against him. And we saw this amazing scene, one of my favorite scenes of Bruce Wayne changing into Batman in the show, where he puts his suit inside Alfred's car after they left the station, and Alfred parks the car in a very dark street where Batman just leaves the car and disappears on an alleyway. And it's a very, like I said, very well animated shot, because you just see the silhouette of Batman leaving the car with his cape flowing around, and he disappears in the dark streets. It's amazing. Also, we have we now are watching a scene where Roland Daggett is talking to one of his goons, the one who is germophobic, and he's telling he's going to go to the hospital and kill Lucius Fox so he doesn't speak about what happened, or he doesn't speak about the files that he knows incriminate Roland Daggett, right? So now the goon has another assignment to execute, that is to kill the man. So then we go back to Matt Hagen in his studio, and he is talking to his assistant in his dressing room. And we have a little flashback of what happened with how he got into the situation with Daggett and how he got this job of doing these criminal activities for the industrialist. And he did that because he suffered an accident and he thought his career was over at the time because he got deformed. So Daggett showed up in the hospital and brought the product that changed his face, right? And this is where both men got involved. And we have this amazing sequence now where Matt Hagen, he walks past some mirrors in his trailer, right? That is a dressing room. And while he passes walking by the mirrors, his face actually transforms back to what it was, and it changes to various characters that he played in movies. You know, like now he's a pirate, but he also becomes a soldier, a gangster. It's very cool. The animation is just fantastic, and it really is very smooth, showing the whole transformation that he is able to do. And while this happens, his assistant becomes very excited and takes the concentration of Matt Hagen. So he realizes that he's not able to do this for long, because to transform back into a human for long, because it's like flexing a muscle, he says. It's something that he has to practice a lot. And this is where we see his drama now, that he became a monster, even worse than the monster he thought he was before, and he starts to cry. It's a very sad scene. So then he decides, Clayface decides to go to the hospital because he knows the goon of Daggett will go to the hospital as well to kill Lucius Fox. So he's able to get the guy there, and this guy will take him to Daggett because now he wants revenge, right? And we're gonna see that the goon is arriving at the Lucius Fox room in the hospital. Is gonna use a pillow to kill the man, but he's going to be interrupted by Batman, who arrives and tosses a batarang in the pillow that he was going to use to kill the man. So we're going to have a chase now with Batman going after the goon in the hospital to get him. One funny fact, while this scene is happening, Clayface is voiced by none other than Ron Perlman, one of my favorite actors from Hollywood. He played many different roles, including monstrous roles. We can put it like that, like one of the most famous, Hellboy, right? He was the first version of Hellboy directed by Guillermo del Toro. And I love that movie, actually, that franchise, right? Because we have two Hellboy movies. And actually, the second movie is one of my favorite superhero movies ever made. And I love Ron Perlman, and his voice as Matt Hagen, Clayface, is just perfect. So we have a very funny scene where Batman, he gets to the goon of Daggett, and he basically takes the guy to a room of the hospital filled with diseases in in glasses, right? So he has these diseases in vitro that Batman uses his intimidating tactics in a very creative way, that is to use the fear of the man against him, and he actually demands an answer again for who was the guy who was impersonating him, I mean Bruce Wayne, when he got Lucius Fox, and he tortures the guy by almost letting a glass of a disease, of a virus, should I say, fall onto him, which makes him terrified, and is great. After that, the Clayface arrives in the scene, transformed as a cop, and he gets the goon, and he knocks Batman out for a couple of seconds, and he takes the germophobic goon in his arms and takes the man to the roof of the building. But Batman arrives there and is able to stop Clayface from throwing the guy off the building, because that's what he was going to do. Then Batman and Clayface has this amazing confrontation where, upon seeing Batman for the first time, Clayface mimics him, transforming the shape of his face into the bat cow, and Batman gets very distressed and shocked by seeing that image. And he says one of my favorite lines of him in this show, that is, "What in the name of?" I mean, he just doesn't know what he's seeing. Then we have this amazing confrontation where we see Clayface using his arms to shape-shift into different weapons, and he tries to fight Batman with them. A big hammer, some huge metal claws. Then he tries to shape-shift his hands into crab hands, which is very funny. But then he gets weak because again, these shape-shift transformations drain a lot from his energy. And then he runs away by jumping off the building, and it's a very cool scene because Clayface cannot die by just jumping off a building, right? He basically splatters on the floor and then reforms himself to run away, and he gets into a manhole by its holes and disappears from sight. And again, fantastic scene. I wish I could see this in live action someday, with Batman fighting this huge monstrous version of Clayface, right? Then we see Clayface in his house while his assistant is bringing him a turkey for him to eat, which is quite humorous. But Clayface watched the news, and the news reported that Roland Daggett will be on a TV channel in a kind of a entertainment show, presenting his product to a whole audience. Meanwhile, Batman goes to the trailer of Matt Hagen, and he gets a little clue that is the product that Hagen used to use, the product that belongs to Daggett, and he's going to analyze this later. But he also gets a lot of tapes with the movies of Matt Hagen, because he's going to use this later, showing how Batman is very intelligent in predicting what strategies he can use with his villains. And we're going to see this play a role later. He enters while the show with Roland Daggett is being presented, and he presents the product of his industries to a whole audience of women that gets really amazed by the transformation that they are able to do with the product. Batman, he enters the TV control room of the TV station, and he puts all the tapes of Hagen's movies into some monitors so that he will use this later. But after this, we have a woman in the audience that gets a little angry with Roland Daggett, gets the microphone from Summer Gleason, which, by the way, is not just a reporter, but maybe she's also a presenter of a entertainment show. I don't understand why she's here, but this woman gets the microphone from her and starts to threaten Roland Daggett and talk about the destructive side effects of his product in front of the whole audience. And he gets into, the woman goes up the stage and transforms into Clayface, showing her true face, which makes everybody in the audience run away from the studio, which is a great scene. And this is where we're going to have the climax of the episode with Clayface fighting Batman again. Clayface got Roland Daggett using his crab hand. Then Batman, he flies towards the villain and he makes this huge hole in his back with the shape of his body. Batman throws his rope on Daggett just to trap the man and not let him run away. He tries to talk to Hagen, but Hagen says he's no longer Matt Hagen. He's now just Clayface, and we're gonna have this amazing fight again where he transforms his hands into weapons like an axe, then the tip of a driller. He also shape-shifts his body to become a huge ball of clay that rolls towards Batman and breaks the wall of the studio. It's an amazing shape-shift moment from the character. And Batman goes after him in the hallway, and Clayface is hidden in a air vent, and he appears again, gets Batman with his huge hand. I love the fact that Clayface is a huge monster, right? He was not a huge man in real life, but he became this huge monster, and this is my dream. I just want to see this in live action. So Batman is able to bring Clayface into the TV control station where we have all these monitors around, and this is where we're going to have this amazing scene where Clayface, he drives a big portion of his body towards the Batman and starts to basically bury him in clay. But before Batman is buried, he's able to turn on the monitors, and they show images of his movies, right? Showing his face with many different characters. And this psychological reaction, which is very interesting, Batman using not a physical strategy to beat the monster, but a psychological strategy, right? This psychological reaction will cause him to get confused, because upon seeing all those images with his face in different characters, Hagen will start to, physically, like an automatic thing, his body will start to shapeshift into these roles. And Batman tries to help him, saying that Hagen needs to let him be helped. But then we're going to have probably the most amazing scene of this episode, where is Clayface shapeshifting uncontrollably into these many different characters. We have the pirate, we have a cowboy, we have a monster actually as well. We have a knight of the old times, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful animation. It's something that is much more advanced for a 90s animation. It's so incredible. And this transformation also is very strange and bizarre, and we see him, parts of his body, almost being delacerated with the whole transformation. And in the end of the thing, he transforms into Bruce Wayne very quickly, and this is where the cops arrive and very coincidentally see him transforming into Bruce Wayne and realize that he can become these other people and can be imposter. Then in the end, Clayface, he pierces his hands into the TV monitors and breaks their screens and gets shocked or electrocuted by a discharge from the monitors, and he falls down and tells Batman that this is the most amazing death scene that he's ever had in his career, or that he wished he had in a real movie. Then Batman takes a sample of the clay that is part of Clayface's body, and he starts to electrocute it in the Batcave to see what happens with the sample. And the molecules, they don't actually die; they continue to transform by being discharged with the shock. So Batman realizes that he might not be dead, Clayface. Actually, the whole idea of him calling his death scene a scene, it tells that Clayface is not really dead. That was just a performance. And this is exactly what happens, because the end of the episode is Matt Hagen's assistant looking at the hospital, very sad, thinking Hagen is dead, but then a woman passes by him and starts to laugh with an evil laugh, and her eyes become yellow, and she reveals herself to be the real Clayface, still alive. Great episode, great two-parter, one of my favorites in the whole series. And this is it, guys. If you liked this episode and you are liking this content, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like in this video. See you in the next commentary and in the next Bat video, and bye-bye.